Welcome to a very special Who universe. With me, of course, Seb's Universe. On Seb's Universe Extra, that is. We are here to finally do a preview for the new season of Doctor Who, because as you can tell, we're only just days away from the series launching. In fact, we're 2 days away from the brand new series coming out on Saturday. And this is basically an opportunity to sort of get a gist of some of the things we can expect from the series, and sort of as a way to preview this upcoming season, because we've got 8 episodes to look forward to over the next few weeks. Obviously, we're very lucky to be fortunate to have two of those episodes premiering this weekend during Eurovision weekend. So we're very, very fortunate to get those two episodes available on Disney Plus, as well as here in the UK on BBC One and BBC iPlayer. BBC iPlayer being the first BBC property to be showing these episodes before BBC One does from 6:20 on Saturday. So where do we begin with our preview of Doctor Who? Well, let's just put it this way. I mean, there's been a lot of interviews out there involving Ncuti and Millie, and even Russell T Davies, who has recently done an interview with the BBC talking about like how he was convinced to cast in Ncuti Gatwa, and I thought we'll sort of elaborate some of the things he said, because it kind of just shows how lucky Russell was to get Ncuti Gatwa on board for the new series. He goes on to say that he was already one of the great actors in Sex Education. You couldn't take your eyes off him. I literally swear, in 5 years' time, you'll have the next James Bond here. That's pretty big words coming from Russell. I'll be held back by security saying I know him, consider myself to be the luckiest man that in the year that I came along to take over Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa was coming to the end of his time on Sex Education, so I'm lucky that it happened, and it looked like it was meant to be. When I see him in action as the Doctor, he's just astonishing. I had a few words with myself. I thought, you have done a few Doctors now. Can you do it again? Are you going to get excited? Are you going to get energetic? And then I look at Ncuti doing the role, and it's like a brand new playing field. Open visuals, new horizons ahead of you. It's so exciting that inspires me. It generates stories in me. It's absolute joy to work with him. So right there, that really just sells to you how excited Ncuti Gatwa was going to be as the new Doctor. The fact that Russell is getting excited about him taking on this role really does show that, yeah, Ncuti Gatwa was made for Doctor Who pretty much, which is pretty exciting. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool that they did that. Now, of course, there was a couple of new things to look forward to with this new series. As I mentioned earlier, Disney Plus is a part of the mix, because for the first time ever, especially internationally, they are not going to be showing Doctor Who on traditional channels across the world. They're going to be sending all the new episodes to Disney Plus, which means that previous episodes from the previous era of Doctor Who, they're going to be scattered around other channels and stuff, but including Classic Who, of course. But Disney Plus have only got contract for the new era of Doctor Who. So essentially stuff that started from the 60th anniversary onwards is going to be available on Disney Plus going forward. But you never know, at some point, maybe Disney Plus might get lucky and get access to all of Doctor Who eventually for the international market, which would be really interesting if they do. But in this moment in time, they only have access to some of basically anything from last year onwards is only going to be available on Disney Plus, and it's all a part of this streaming partnership that Doctor Who is having with BBC, and also the fact that Disney get to bring money into Doctor Who, so that they'll be able to do bigger storylines now, which is what is the show really needs. Really, they need that money to boost the show's quality and stuff. And I know there have been a lot of concerns, especially with the whole partnership. Oh, is Doctor Who going to lose its value? No, I don't think it will. I think it's going to amaze us how Doctor Who is going to go, really. I think we're going to be amazed when we see the new episodes, just how much care that Disney collaborated with the BBC they have done to make sure that Doctor Who lives up to that quality, lives up to that standard that everybody loves about Doctor Who, which is what Russell's trying to achieve. He's trying to achieve bringing that basically achieve that success that we've been missing from Doctor Who for a few years. And especially, Ncuti Gatwa was very excited about this. So that's pretty cool. The fact that Ncuti Gatwa has been very hyped about this series, and in fact, we'll go through some of his comments about basically how his friends have been reacting to him as the Doctor, and also about what he thinks about the importance of the universe and the excitement about the new series and what made him get into this part of Doctor Who. We'll discuss that very shortly, along with Billy Gibson's comments. But yeah, I thought we'll mention about the streaming partnership because that's a very important role to why Doctor Who's got this new vibe and energy this year is because of Disney Plus, who are going to be globally launching Doctor Who internationally, whilst the BBC on BBC One and BBC iPlayer here in the UK are going to be launching the episodes traditionally like they've always done. BBC One on the telly, BBC iPlayer are also going to be releasing episodes early before BBC One shows them, which is like a so it fits in line with Disney Plus pretty much. So yes, so going through Shooty Gut was comments. I thought we'll go through some of the comments. He meant, he kind of goes on talking about what got, how did he react when he got the part. He said, my agent called to tell me I had the role, and I was walking into the barber shop, and I think I was paralyzed by the weight of 60-year history. No pressure. I was very, very overwhelmed, but I felt like I had a little piece of gold, which is really great to see how enthusiastic the guy really is. And then he talks about the new series where he says, absolutely, it's really nice to have a buzz around Doctor Who. It's a great show. I feel very lucky to have have the bandit handed on to me for such an incredible drama. This is really exciting time. Absolutely, and I totally agree with that. And then interestingly, when he was asked about teasing major storylines, he says, "What can I say that Russell is the master of creating certain integral worlds, and he's doing so already. So that's going to be really exciting for the fans to piece things together, which." We all love a bit of that, don't we? And then he talks about his character, about the key parts of his his version of Doctor Who, where he would say, "I describe him as a bit cheeky and confident. There's also depth to him emotionally. The character is very emotionally strong. This Doctor wears his hat on his sleeves, which is really, really nice to hear. So yeah, he's one of those Doctor Who stars. Well, one of those characters this Doctor's going to be in terms of Doctor Who. And then he talks about the relationship between the Doctor and Ruby. He said they're definitely best friends. They also big brother, little sister. Very, very. He feels very protective towards her, and they can't help to have a bunch of fun together. They're both very curious, very cheeky, and have a very high energy personalities. They bounce off each other constantly. So yeah, that gives you a bit of a vibe of what sort of relationship the Doctor and Ruby are going to be having throughout the course of the series, which is really great. And then going through, in terms of some of the comments from Billy Gibson, in terms of how she describes Ruby, she goes on to say she's an absolute fireball. She's curvy for adventure to happen. She's charismatic. She's a glass half full kind of person. Still just very positive. I think she's just lovable, and I look at her and I think, yes, I agree with Ruby. She's right. Everything's going to be okay, and I think that's nice to see. And then she talks about working with Shooty, saying it's absolute. The energy is just like a tennis match. Ruby says one thing, the Doctor says another. It's like bam, 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 bam. So much fun to play, and at the very end of the day, we're knackered because we use so much energy, and at the same time, we're also finding a bit of sea where we could breathe, and would be a little bit emotional or raw. It's such a lovely dynamic to watch it act. Some of the Avengers and situations they find themselves is really funny, and even when you think, "Oh my God, how they're going to get out of this one," they just use their humor and their charm and their spark. So hopefully, people will get to know them and fall in love with them and laugh at their Avengers along the way. I'm sure we will. I'm sure a lot of us will be laughing away to their Avengers for sure. And then of course she talks about being a fan of the show when she was a child. She said, "Yes, I used to be a show that my dad and I always watched together. So it's Saturday night and Doctor Who's on. Never mind going out with friends. It was the Matt Smith era, so that's why I got hooked with the Weeping Angels. And when you find the Doctor, he immediately becomes your Doctor. And now it will be Shooty, obviously. Well, of course it will be. But yeah, that's really, really great, really good. And they even, and interestingly, Shooty and Billy Gibson actually described the series. I mean, Billy Gibson described it as magical, musical, supernatural, lovable, timeless, while Shooty describes it as he describes it as it'll blow your socks off. There you go. That's how he sums it up. Really. Yeah, you can't get better than that, can you? But yeah, so that just gives you a sense of how much energy Shooty Gatwa and Billy Gibson have about the show, and they're very, very excited for the series as a whole, and I don't blame them for being excited. I mean, some of the pictures we've been seeing about this new series just really goes to show how much they're enjoying their time on set, and it really just shows that, hey, this might be probably the perfect duo for Doctor Who. You never know. This could very well be the perfect duo. I think they are. You know, I think there's a very high chance that Billy Gibson and Ruby Sun and Billy Gibson and Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor and Ruby might be a perfect pair. I mean, well, obviously it will take a bit of time for the community the Whoniverse to see, but I think that it might be a perfect pair. You never know. I think we're going to be in for a treat this year. But yeah, so in terms of how and in terms of all the episode titles, for those who are curious of what the episode titles are, well, the episode titles are as follows. So we have obviously the first episode being Space Babies and Devil's Core. These are both written by Russell T Davies. They're going to go out on Saturday. We have Boom, written by Stephen Moffat. Russell's also writing 73 yards, and Dot and Bubbles, which are going to be episodes 5 and 6, respectively. And then we have Rogue, that's written by a new duo of writers called Kate Hearns and Bowen Redmond, who are going to be new to Doctor Who, writing that script, which is the Bridgerton episode, by the way. And then the final two episodes, The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, are going to be the two-part finale that's going to end the series, where we could expect Bonnie Langford to return as Mel, Gemma Redgrave to come back as Kate Stewart. Also, Lenny Rush is expected in the finale, so we can expect to see him. Also, we'll get to see Yasmin Finney, Rose Noble making a return, which is Donna Noble's daughter, by the way, making a return at the end of the series. And obviously, there's many other guest stars who we're going to be encountering throughout the series that will be new to Doctor Who that may have never appeared on the show before, as well as Annette Donson, who's obviously playing Mrs. Blood, who we saw in the Christmas special, and hopefully we'll get to learn who she might be, because she's a little bit mysterious. I'm very curious. And by the way, she's Auntie Dormus is actually the wife of Brian May from Queen, who just so happens to be a Doctor Who fan. So there you go. But yeah, so they're the episode titles. If you're curious about what the episode titles are for Doctor Who, for these 8 episodes that we're going to be seeing from this Saturday, and obviously every week there will be one. Well, as of next week, it will be one episode per week. So it's only this week we're getting 2 episodes, and then the next week we're going to see just one episode out on BBC iPlayer and on BBC One, so you can see those episodes roll out, and then there you go. That will be the episodes of Doctor Who that you will see on BBC iPlayer and Disney and BBC iPlayer and BBC One. There'll be one a week after this weekend. The same with Disney Plus as well. So they only decided to launch it with 2 episodes this week because it's the return of Doctor Who. So of course they want to go out with a bang. And then it'll be pretty much one every week after this weekend, all the way up to the end of the series, which is going to be nice. And then, of course, on top of that, we've got a Christmas special to look forward to. That'll be at the later this year. We'll probably do a preview for that near the time when we'll have this year's special for Doctor Who, which obviously BBC are not going to talk about that just yet because we're still ways off till that happens. But anyway, that will be to be talked about later this year. But either way, that just gives you a bit of a rough sort of preview of what to expect. Radio Times, by the way, they're doing a cover for Doctor Who. If you want to pick that up if you're in the UK, there are 3 different covers. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see a picture of the covers that they're doing. If you're looking to get your hands on the Radio Times this week to celebrate the return of Doctor Who, Doctor Who Magazine have done a preview of the first 2 episodes, and I think they're going to do previews of the next few episodes in the next issue, which I think is in just a few short weeks. There'll be another issue previewing the next set of episodes. I think it might be next week, actually. They might be previewing Boom and Doctor Who Magazine. So they should be previewing the next set of episodes in Doctor Who Magazine later this month, if you want to see what they have to say about the next set of episodes that are coming. And then, of course, and then on top of that, we're going to be getting, and then we're going to be getting synopsises for each of the episodes, which of course I'll be discussing the synopsis for Boom. Probably, we'll probably have a news video before the episodes go out on Saturday, talking about the synopsis for Boom that's coming out a week on Saturday, when we'll have Stephen Moffat's returning script to Doctor Who, which will be very exciting to see how that all goes. But yes, apart from that, be sure to tune in. Be sure to tune in on Saturday and let everyone know, hey, this is what is going to be happening. And if you want to get your friends involved and check the show out, be sure to do so. There'll also be links to the Whoniverse on BBC iPlayer if you want to catch up with classic Who and see previous episodes of Doctor Who or any spin-offs or Doctor Who proms, which, by the way, there's going to be a new Doctor Who proms later this year, which Shooty and Millie might probably show up for. We're probably going to see that later this autumn. So be sure to check those out if you want to be ready for the new one that's going to be coming potentially, which is set to come at the end of the year on BBC Two. So be sure, and BBC iPlayer. So that'll be dropping later in the year. But yeah, that's pretty much all the like I said, that's pretty much all the content really for Doctor Who really for this weekend. And I hope you're ready for the new series to go. So let me know if you're going to be watching this weekend. I'm going to be doing my reviews on Saturday for the first two episodes, Space Babies and Devil's Core, sharing my thoughts on what I think and what I enjoyed about the episode, and we'll be interested to hear from everybody what you guys think of the story this weekend as well in the comment section, where we'll have a nice discussion of what you reckon of the first two opening episodes of the series and how you feel Shooty's performance is so far as the 15th, as well as Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday. Hope you can join us this weekend for our first two reviews of the new series of Doctor Who Season 1. So I'll catch you on Saturday. See you then.